al-Bukhari 731. Narrated Zayd bin Thabit. Allah's Messenger made a small room in the month of Ramadan. Sa'id said, I think that Zayd bin Thabit said that it was made of a mat, and he prayed there for a few nights, and so some of his companions prayed behind him. When he came to know about it, he kept on sitting. In the morning, he went out to them and said, I have seen and understood what you did. You should pray in your houses, for the best prayer of a person is that which he prays in his house except the compulsory prayers. Sahih al-Bukhari 732. Narrated Anas bin Malik al-Ansari. Allah's Messenger rode a horse and fell down and the right side of his body was injured. On that day he prayed one of the prayers sitting and we also prayed behind him sitting. When the Prophet finished the prayer with taslim, he said, the Imam is to be followed, and if he prays standing then pray standing, and bow when he bows, and raise your heads when he raises his head, prostrate when he prostrates, and if he says Sami'a Allahu liman hamida, you should say, Rabbana wa laka al-hamd. Sahih al-Bukhari 733. Narrated Anas bin Malik. Allah's Messenger fell from a horse and got injured, so he led the prayer sitting and we also prayed sitting. When he completed the prayer he said, the Imam is to be followed, if he says takbir then say takbir, bow if he bows, raise your heads when he raises his head, when he says, Sami'a Allahu liman hamida say, Rabbana laka al-hamd, and prostrate when he prostrates. Sahih al-Bukhari 734. Narrated Abu Huraira. The Prophet said, the Imam is to be followed. Say the takbir when he says it, bow if he bows, if he says Sami'a Allahu liman hamida, say, Rabbana wa laka al-hamd, prostrate if he prostrates and pray sitting altogether if he prays sitting. Sahih al-Bukhari 735. Narrated Salim bin Abdullah. My father said, Allah's Messenger used to raise both his hands up to the level of his shoulders when opening the prayer, and on saying the takbir for bowing. And on raising his head from bowing he used to do the same and then say Sami'a Allahu liman hamida, Rabbana wa laka al-hamd. And he did not do that, i.e. raising his hands, in prostrations. Sahih al-Bukhari 736. Narrated Abdullah bin Umar. I saw that whenever Allah's Messenger stood for the prayer, he used to raise both his hands up to the shoulders, and used to do the same on saying the takbir for bowing and on raising his head from it, and used to say, Sami'a Allahu liman hamida. But he did not do that, i.e. raising his hands, in prostrations. Sahih al-Bukhari 737. Narrated Abu Kilaba. I saw Malik bin Huwairith saying takbir and raising both his hands, on starting the prayers and raising his hands on bowing and also on raising his head after bowing. Malik bin Huwairith said, Allah's Messenger did the same. Sahih al-Bukhari 738. Narrated Abdullah bin Umar. I saw Allah's Messenger opening the prayer with the takbir and raising his hands to the level of his shoulders at the time of saying the takbir, and on saying the takbir for bowing he did the same, and when he said, Sami'a Allahu liman hamida, he did the same and then said, Rabbana wa laka al-hamd. But he did not do the same on prostrating and on lifting the head from it. Sahih al-Bukhari 739. Narrated Nafi. Whenever Ibn Umar started the prayer with takbir, he used to raise his hands. Whenever he bowed, he used to raise his hands before bowing, and also used to raise his hands on saying, Sami'a Allahu liman hamida, and he used to do the same on rising from the second rak'ah for the third rak'ah. Ibn Umar said, the Prophet used to do the same. Sahih al-Bukhari 740. Narrated Sahl bin Sa'di. The people were ordered to place the right hand on the left forearm in the prayer. Abu Hazim said, I knew that the order was from the Prophet.